What's good, YouTube? This is a bit of a different video. As you can see, I'm not in my room, I'm in my car. I'd first like to say thank you for all of the views on my Motability video. Very much appreciated, and I can tell that that video is helping out a lot of people, so I'm going to make another video, and you've seen the title. This is why Mercedes needs to come back to the Motability Scheme. So this is my car that I've had for the last 6 years, I believe. And I've extended that lease twice. So on the Motability Scheme, you normally can't keep the car for that long, but you know, lockdown or whatever and other circumstances mean that I'm able to keep this for long. So I'm very appreciative of that. Anyway, getting to the point. So why Mercedes is the best car and needs to come back to the Motability Scheme. The one main reason, if I show you my center console here, you'll notice there's no gear stick, like, at all. This thing is for controlling the screen and my radio, but there's no gear stick at all. And this car is a C-Class, but the fact of it not having a gear stick is exclusive to Mercedes, but it's on all of their Mercedes. Like, I used to have an A-Class before I got this, and on the A-Class, which is much more affordable than a C, there's no gear stick either. And I spoke to Audi when I was looking into getting a new car, and the Audi dealer, he used to work for Mercedes, and he said that Mercedes are the only car manufacturer in Europe who have this option of not having a gear stick. Now, I went to other brands because Mercedes aren't on the Motability Scheme anymore. They're for whatever reason, their own reasons, right? So I went looking for other brands, and I asked, like, do any of the other brands have it where there's no gear stick? No, they don't, right? And I went to Skoda, and Skoda were very nice, and the salesman at Skoda looked into it for me. I asked him, can I get this option of not having a gear stick as an adaptation on the Motability Scheme? They went back and looked into it for me. They said that it's not an option, like, you can't do that. I don't know the mechanics of cars, I'm not into all of that stuff, but yeah, supposedly it's not possible to do that because you'd have to rework a lot of things. I can't, they did explain it in detail, I can't remember, but the point is, Mercedes is the only manufacturer that offers the option of not having a gear stick. And I'm going to demonstrate with my left hand. So I have cerebral palsy, and it affects the left side of my body, and so just to clarify, this is an automatic car with no adaptations. So on all other automatic cars, there would usually be a gear stick, like I've said many times, just really trying to emphasize this point, right? So I'd have a gear stick here, and most gear sticks these days have a little trigger that you need to pull, and I don't know if you can tell, but it's very difficult for me to move my hand and do that gesture of pulling in. It's very, very difficult. And because it's an automatic, right, you wouldn't need to be using the gear stick all the time as if it was a manual, right? It's only for when you're stationary, for when you're reversing, you know, putting it in drive or putting it in neutral, right? But the thing is, like, it still hurts, like, a lot, and it's still very, very, very difficult to do that. So you might be able to use a gear stick in theory, right? You can do the motion with your hand, right? But it's difficult. So when you don't have a gear stick, it's so easy. You don't have to worry about it, right? So you might be thinking, where are the gears then if they're not there? Well, they're actually on behind the steering wheel here, like almost like an indicator. So let me put my foot on the brake for a second so the car doesn't roll or anything. I'm going to put the car in, try and get this on camera. Difficult because, again, I'm using my left hand, which I don't have much control over, so I'm trying to hold this camera with my left hand here and show you. If I put it in reverse, that, I don't know if you saw that on the camera. Yeah, so this little thing that sticks up here, yeah, there you go. So yeah, you've got reverse, neutral, drive, and park, and it's all on the steering wheel. as standard. Like, this isn't an adaptation. This isn't exclusive to the C-Class. This is on all Mercedes as standard, I believe, in Europe. They have this, where they have this system on the steering wheel where you can change gears, and it's you know, drive is there, simple, done. Reverse is there, neutral is in the middle. And if you want to park, you click a little, oh gosh, it's difficult. There's a little button here. You click that button, it puts you in park. You can take your foot off the brake. So convenient, especially for drivers who have cerebral palsy affecting the left side of their body. Or necessarily, you don't have to have cerebral palsy. You can have any other ailment. If you're qualified to be on the Motability Scheme and you find it hard to use your left hand, Mercedes is the one. It's unique. It's completely in its own league, and it's incredible. So that is the main reason why Mercedes needs to come back to the scheme. So now I'm going to go over a couple of more things, features that might be on other cars too, features that might not necessarily, be exclusive to Mercedes, but other features in Motability cars that help me and might actually help you too. So actually, I'm going to start with one thing that I don't normally use, in fact. So you saw the little plus, gosh, where is it? There's a plus and a minus here. So again, as standard on, I believe, all Mercedes, that's semi-automatic on the steering wheel. Like, if I wanted to, I can shift gears between, you know, it has, I don't even know, like, that's how much I don't use it, but the option is there too, as opposed to, that's probably, if you've got like I've had it before. I used to have a Mazda 3, and it had some weird dodgy gear stick where you had to, like, drive was here, then you had to do this to get to park or whatever, and then this to get to reverse, and then there's over here, there's a plus and there's a minus, and it's complicated, right? So if you know how to use manual, because I've never really taught myself, my friends have taught me before, tried to teach me, but I like to keep things simple and drive automatic. But if you want the option of driving manual or semi-automatic, whatever it's called, Mercedes have that option on the steering wheel as standard. So that's one thing for you to consider if you like that kind of thing. Don't worry about this warning light. I'm well aware it's there. It's due for a it's going to get, not serviced, but it's going to get sorted out. It's got an appointment, for want of a better word. So yeah, don't worry about that. And I'm getting petrol soon too. Yeah, so the next feature, let me try and think, because I had these written down. Yeah. So this isn't the most important feature, but also on the C-Class as standard, I have heated seats here, and some people might think like, oh, heated seats is a bit unnecessary. You don't need that. Like, what the hell? And it has like 3 options for 3 degrees of heat and then off. But if you have chronic pain and you're you know, you want to relax a little bit, the heated seat actually helps with that. Like, I keep my seat, I can't really show you effectively without fucking up the camera, but the heated seat, like, I have my seat upright, pretty much upright, so I'm working on my posture while I'm driving, basically, right? Like, I'm always trying to be upright. Like I've said, posture is so important in my previous videos, right? So when you have the heated seat, it relaxes your muscles. It's and every little thing that you can do helps, right? So heated seats as standard there, again, another thing. And if it's not standard on whatever manufacturer you're going for, then you can weigh up whether it's a worthy investment and you want to spend time doing that, right? So another great thing that I find is the reversing camera. And again, not a necessary feature, but if you put the car into reverse, you have a little screen here and you can see the car and whatever's behind you. And if you turn there's some manufacturers, you can turn the steering wheel and it can turn the camera and view around in a corner. I think there's a way to like look further on this one too, so you can like click here and it will give you a different, yeah. So it gives you like a wider view, right? So not necessary, but very, very helpful. And if you have chronic pain or whatever you have, like whatever your disability is, you don't want to be like turning over your shoulder all the time to look back, right? You don't want to be doing that unnecessarily. And it might sound silly to people that don't have issues with mobility or whatever, but even turning your head, like everything, at least for me, everything hurts, right, to a degree, and you want to make it so you put as little effort possible into doing everything. And having a reversing camera is a great, let me just put it in park quickly, put the parking brake on. All right, take my foot off the brake. Yeah, having a reversing camera I wouldn't go without it. It was on my my A-Class, like I said, the one I had before this. I've been not using a gear stick and using a reversing camera for the last 8 years, and I can go back, I can drive safely without these things, but it's not optimal, you know, not far from optimal. And another thing Mercedes have, I believe as standard, is this really cool feature where you can put your foot on the brake, right? And say I'm driving and I'm stopped at lights, and instead of using my hand to put this back into neutral, which I can do, I can put it into neutral, right, and take my foot off the brake, which is great, because when your foot's off the brake, you know, like you're not using your foot. And for me, my right foot is my able foot, my good foot, so for want of a better word, right, good foot. So it still hurts, and every time you can take the opportunity to take a break, you want to do it, because, like, just to clarify, I overcompensate with my right side of my body, because I can't use the left side of my body very well. So basically I have like severe pain in the right side of my body, even though it isn't affected by my disability directly. It is affected because of the amount I have to use it to compensate. So you might be in a similar situation where, or whatever, your right leg might be the thing affected by your disability, right? So anytime you can rest and put your car into neutral is great, right? And it's convenient in the fact that you can do it with your hand, like I've just demonstrated. But instead of that, also, if you're driving and you want to put it in neutral and you don't want to use your hand, but you want your foot to rest, you can stamp down on the brake. I didn't show it very well. You can stamp down on the brake, let me try it again, and it puts the car into a thing called hold assist. Let me just see if we can get this. Yeah, see, it says hold right here. That's hold assist. So my foot is off the brake now, and the car is effectively in neutral despite it still being in drive, and that's all done through this hold assist feature, which again is standard on Mercedes vehicles. It's incredible. So one last feature, I believe, if I haven't forgotten anything, the last feature, which is very overkill and I don't use it at all really, it's been so long that I've used it, to be honest, that I can't remember how to do it, but this isn't a joke. Like, I can press, if I'm lined up with a car next to me and I want to parallel park, and it has to be a large space behind you, but if there is a very large space behind you and you're pulled up to a car, you can press OK on this vehicle, and I'm not lying, the steering wheel moves by itself and turns itself into the space. And all you have to do, like, you don't touch the steering wheel, you take a step back from that, you control the brake and the gas, so, or whatever, the petrol, whatever the fuck you want to call it, Americanized, right? But yeah, you control the brake and the gas and the power that the car goes at. So if it's steering and it fucks up, which it has done in the past, and it miscalculates the trajectory of the parking space, then you can put your foot on the brake and put a stop to it, right? So it's not gonna reverse itself completely and you don't have any control. But again, it's another feature where you can you can just press OK and the car parks itself. And again, if you don't want to be looking over your shoulder and you don't want to be rapidly turning the wheel or whatever, a great feature for if you have chronic pain. A not necessary one, and a feature that doesn't work all of the time, because again, it miscalculates sometimes and it needs to be a big space for it to recognize the space for you. But just another feature which is a good one that is worthy of consideration. It will probably be an extra on other brands. Everything that I've got in this car is standard on the C-Class, and the C-Class is the perfect car for a man with chronic pain, or if you're a man with like disability, recovering from injury, you know, physically challenged man, like I like to term it, right? So if you're a physically challenged man, I would say get a C-Class because it's incredible. But the main point of the video is all of these reasons that I've listed is why Mercedes needs to come back to Motability. It can help so many people, and that's like, yeah, it's a noble reason, but like, you know, they're a company, they want to make money. They'll probably make a lot of money by the amount of sales they'll get if enough people become aware of all of these amazing features which are exclusive to Mercedes, specifically the lack of a gear stick. It's incredible. So I really hope that this video gets out to a lot of people, because this is an important one, to be honest, because this can really help. I know that my previous video about Motability has got a lot of views compared to my other videos, so I think that this one should reach quite a few of you. So if you like it and you like what I've said in the video, please hit the like button and share it with as many people as you can, because this really is a video that can help people out. So thank you for listening.